Unincarnation. Another one of those types of hidden games on Roblox that you find whenever you can't think of anything else to play. It's at this point in time that you either scroll past it or you decide to play it out of sheer curiosity. And oh boy, your curiosity will serve you well. In this video, I'm going to go over my first impressions of Unincarnation and uncover the possible lore behind one of the most mysterious yet layered games on Roblox. I am the Epic User, and let's dive in. The first thing that you see when you spawn in is what seems to be some sort of abandoned small lab. The furniture is scattered about, and there's a mysterious control panel or electric box that stands out among the entire room. And yet despite this, you can't interact with it. When you enter through the next room, you see a desktop computer at the far end with no screen, along with some more furniture. Two mysterious handwritten notes that repeat the same thing can be found on one table, as well as what seems to be a scribbled out drawing. These notes read, "The one in the middle's back lies to you. It's not worth it. It's not worth it." And it keeps repeating the same phrase over and over again. I will go back to this major detail to explain the potential lore later on in the video. Eventually, everything leads towards the computer in the back. Once you click on the keyboard, the entire screen goes black for a moment. Then when everything clears, you can see that you have now teleported to a plain of grey grass with big hedges leading towards a graveyard, and more trees can be seen in the distance. However, the most notable feature of this strange place is a single straight ladder, standing alone far away from everything else. Normally, most players would go towards the graveyard, since it should be the first thing that they see. But because of my undying curiosity for the obscure, I decided to approach the ladder first. I climbed up on it, and once I reached the top, the screen went black again. When everything cleared, I respawned in the same spot again, and the place didn't seem to change much. At least that's what I thought. In fact, I'll discover that this one act actually added something to the landscape, and you'll see what it is later on in the video. I kept approaching and climbing the ladder, hoping to see something different. Each time I climbed up the ladder, the time fast forwards until it's nighttime. On my last attempt of climbing the ladder, instead of time fast forwarding again, I kept losing HP until I finally died. There's no respawn mechanic in this game once you die, so I had to rejoin. Now, playing the game the normal way, you will see a graveyard in front of you to approach. None of the tombstones are interactable, but when you interact with this particular one with a gold plating, a mysterious sound can be heard. When you turn around and look back at it again, the statue is now gone. It's at this moment in the game where you are now forced to find another gold plating somewhere in the graveyard, while the statue from earlier hunts you down every time you're not looking. Ah yes, the classic blink and you'll miss it mechanic that almost all of these types of games use. Eventually, you'll find another gold plating, and once you click on it, the statue automatically gets destroyed and you'll be teleported somewhere else. In this new place, you'll see a hallway of wooden doors with only a single door open. Once you get inside, you'll find a silver key that you'll use to unlock a trapdoor at the far end of the hallway. Once you drop in, you'll find yourself in a cave where you're supposed to type in the corresponding code in the chat in order to unlock the exit at the end. Once you get out, a nice clearing can be seen with some trees populating it, as well as light filtering down underground from sky holes. You'll use a key that's found beside one of the trees to unlock another exit to move on to the next stage. In this next stage, it's another one of those lab-type rooms. You have to keep looping around and around on this path until you see a new entrance. There you'll find another silver key to use to unlock the door in front of you. When trying to go down this dark tunnel, the game will keep you in place until you inevitably die by some random hostile, with a very funny looking face, not gonna lie. I tried reattempting and rejoining this game multiple times in order to find any other way to progress, but with no luck. Eventually, through painful trial and error, I finally found something new. Remember when I told you guys earlier that one act of me climbing up the ladder once would add something to the game that I didn't know? Well, now I have found that one thing, and it's this new strange structure. Once you click on it and destroy the statue, you'll be teleported to the same hallway of wooden doors, only this time another door has opened. Once you get into this new room, there seems to be nothing interesting. At least that's what you think, because in this particular part of the wall, there's a secret entrance. Once you enter, the screen cuts to black and for a moment nothing happens. Then the screen flashes to a brief glimpse of you being surrounded by mysterious silhouettes of people. Then the screen goes black again, you get teleported to some rocky place that's raining. That brief glimpse from before will play a major role in discussing the lore behind this game later on in this video, so make sure to stick around. After finding a key to unlock the yellow door, you then come across at a split in the road. Wait a second, is that Conquest? Anyways, if you turn right, you'll see a maze-like room where you find a crowbar and another key. The crowbar is used to pull down a board blocking a door. The key is used to unlock another door that opens into what seems to be a lab testing room. Suddenly, you'll then see dialogue appearing at the bottom right corner of the screen. This bit of dialogue is probably going to be the only time the game will give us some context on the lore, so therefore this is important for what I'm about to explain later in this video. None of the objects in this room are interactable, so I eventually left in search of other things to explore. When you go onto the left path, when you're back at the split in the road, you will find three major things in the entire room. There's a brick wall that barricades NPCs from leaving the cell, another door leads to another empty cell, and the third one has no cell to lead towards. You will then use the same key to unlock the empty cell, and inside of it, you'll find three panels showing three different codes. This will play a major role in what will happen later on in the game. As you advance further within the cell, you'll find another key. This key is used to unlock the door that leads to no cell. Once you unlock that door, you'll advance deep underground where you'll find a sledgehammer that can be used to break down the brick wall that leads to the NPCs. The weird thing that happens when you advance further into the cell full of NPCs, all the NPCs will stop to look at you, and then they'll flee to some dark entrance and disappear. As you keep going, you'll find a metal door that requires a password to get past. This is the part where the three different codes from earlier will help massively. However, you can't go back to look at the codes again, since there's a door that barricades you. Eventually, through just looking at old footage that I've recorded in this game, yeah, I know, I cheated, I was able to type in the correct code to let me pass and escape this off-putting and mysterious world. Now, I am aware that there are plenty of other routes that I haven't done yet. After all, the game wouldn't just let me unbar that wooden door with a crowbar for nothing. However, even so, trying to achieve all of the badges within the game would not add much to the lore, especially after I had actually researched all these badges on the internet. The potential lore behind this ambiguous game could be that we are scientists that hosted experiments on people in the past, and this game is supposed to be a representation of our guilt and regret for those experiments. It's unclear what those experiments could be, but judging from the mysterious brief glimpse that we saw, those experiments must have been haunting enough to the point where our guilt reveals itself through a flashback. These black silhouettes that we saw are most likely the test subjects that we have personally tested ourselves. More evidence to further prove this potential theory are the letters that we saw at the very beginning of the game. The part where it says the one in the middle's back lies to you most likely means that there was a certain subject during testing that caught our eye, hence the wording of the phrase as if it's someone pointing out a person's back. It's unclear as to what that thing that caught our eye could be, since the game is too ambiguous. The rest of the letter then says it's not worth it, over and over again. Whatever that thing was, it must be that dangerous and significant enough for many of our other co-workers to tell us that it's not worth experimenting on that special thing. Or maybe, all of these repeating phrases are just us trying to lie to ourselves that it's not worth testing it until we eventually do. The final nail in the coffin for this is when we see the dialogue presented to us when we reach this particular lab testing room. The dialogue describes us being here before, which makes sense since we are scientists. Then before the dialogue ends, it says, "Find the one." This piece of evidence undoubtedly confirms our suspicions about us being a scientist that once hosted experiments. After all, why else would there be dialogue saying that we have been here before? Not only that, but the final line where it says "find the one" signifies the same thing that was referenced back in the letters in the beginning of the game. The one in the middle's back lies to you. It all comes full circle. Whatever this special thing is, it must be the main reason why we are in our current predicament in the game where we're no longer working scientists. The NPCs that we encounter further proves that we truly are a monster that is willing to go as far as testing real human beings in order to get what we want. In conclusion, Unincarnation is a Roblox game about a scientist who regrets his life's work in experimenting on human beings. Now, despite there being evidence for this theory, this is all still speculation, as the pieces of evidence as well as some extra scenes in the game are all ambiguous enough to not tell the complete story. But judging from how the game presents itself through its puzzles and environmental storytelling, we can only infer that this theory for the lore is the most probable one. Anyways, thank you for watching this video all the way until the very end. It means a lot to me. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you like content like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. And I'll see you in the next video. Remember to stay epic.